We act like hair quizzes are just for fun. What's my hair type? 3C, 4A, 4C, 4Z? Well, let me ask you this. If a pencil in your hair could decide your whole future, would you think that hair tests are still harmless? Because not long ago, they did. And today, we're going to connect the dots between old school hair tests like the pencil test and modern curl typing games that make some of us feel like we are failing at being beautiful. Let's talk about it. Hey, beautiful people, I'm Bridgett from Bronz. This is episode 2 of my mini-series, No More Hair Auditions, where we drag the curl caste system and build real confidence in our actual textures. In episode 1, we talked about how the so-called hair hacks isn't another product. It's confidence in our real hair without auditioning for the Good Hair Club. Today, we're going deeper. I'm going to show you how hair has been used, which, get it, most of you probably already know that, especially if you've been feeling it, but how hair has been used as a border checkpoint. From Apartheid's pencil test to the European Eugenics labs, to the American Eugenics labs and slavery and Jim Crow and everything else, to the cute little hair quizzes on your phone that we constantly go to. And no, I'm not here to tell you how to care for your hair type. I'm here to show you how these systems were never built for our dignity in the first place. So let's start with the pencil test in South Africa, in apartheid South Africa. Under apartheid, the government created strict racial categories: white, colored, black, kind of synonymous with what we saw in America under the slavery and Jim Crow system, that decided where you could live, what schools you could attend, what work you could do, even who you could marry. If they weren't sure where to put you, sometimes they would decide your hair. And how do they do that? They use a pencil. So if the pencil fell out easily, you were more likely to be classified as white. If the pencil stayed in your curls, then you were classified as black or colored. Your whole legal identity, your family's future, your access to rights and safety, all of that could shift based on where a pencil slid out of your hair or got caught. So communities were split. So if you were a member who the hair passed straight through with the pencil, or if you were on the other side where the pencil did not, but you were still in the same family, that could split your family. So some members may have passed the test, whereas others did not. So that's not a hair tip. That's a hair weapon system of the state. So when people say it's just hair, understand for our people, which most of you already know, it's never just hair. It's always been about survival. It's been about politics. It's been a border. It's been a gate. It's been a sentence. So now let's take it up to racial science, or according to the National Human Genome Research Institute, racial scientific racism. And that is an ideology that appropriates the methods and legitimacy of science to argue for the superiority of white Europeans and the inferiority of everyone else. And as you know, with that, they put us in social systems. They essentially made caste systems in Europe and the Americas that revolved around this racial hierarchy and typically marginalized us. And where did that eugenics come from? It came from a scientist named Francis Galton. He was an English statistician. He was a demographer and an ethnologist. And he was the cousin of Charles Darwin, the Charles Darwin. He was the one who, this Francis Galton was the one who coined the term eugenics. And he coined that in 1883. And he defined the eugenics as a study of agencies under social control that may improve or impair racial inequalities, qualities of future generations, either physically or mentally. So he claimed that health and disease, as well as social and intellectual characteristics, were based upon hereditary and the concept of race. So fast forward that to the early 1900s, you had scientists not only in Germany and the United States, Great Britain, Italy, Mexico, Canada, and other countries, who are also statisticians, economists, anthropologists, sociologists, these engineers of this idea that supported eugenics. And through a variety of academic and popular literature, that's how they did it. And as you know, Germany took it a step further when they went ahead with the genocide of the Jews. So they all still did the same thing. They measured the skull, the noses, the hair color, the skin color, to prove that some people were naturally superior than others. And one of these scientists was Eugene Fisher. He did racial studies on mixed race communities in colonized Africa. And he helped build the idea of the Nordic ideal, light-skinned, light eyes, light hair, as the top human hierarchy. And they dressed it up in charts and scales like the Fisher-Saylor scale, which lined up hair color from the palest blonde to the darkest brown to black. It looked so official, so scientific, but that was just a disguise, as we all know, come to know. Underneath it, they were pushing this ugly agenda. The lighter you were, the closer you were supposedly to the perfected people, the white people. And the darker you were, the lower you landed on this twisted hierarchy. And this wasn't some harmless classification or some buckets of different categories for skin color and tone. It was used to fuel racist policies, drive forced sterilization, and ultimately slavery, genocide, and every other thing where the colonizer was able to just go in and just dehumanize everybody. So the message was clear. Hair wasn't just something growing from your head. It was evidence. It was ammunition. It was a way to decide who belonged and who could be cast aside. So I'm laying this bare not to shock you, but to reveal a dark, persistent pattern. For generations, hair has been wielded as a weapon to enforce boundaries, to decide who gets counted, who gets pushed out. And once you recognize, that legacy, it's impossible to pretend that today's hair charts are just innocent tools. So in the shadow of history, it's still there, woven into every strand. And then if you fast forward to today, Hello Crown Act, we have that popular 2, 1, 4, 3 curl typing system, which is what Andre Walker popularized with his hair typing system. You get all these hair typing quiz. And yes, of course, it was under the guise of, if you know what your hair typing is, you can, get better products, whatever, to where you can figure out what works best. And some people truly see themselves to understand hair better. And hey, that's a valid point if that's what it's actually used for. But what we can't ignore is that a lot of stylists and writers and researchers have said basically the same thing. This system favors the looser curls over coily textures. And so with type 4 hair, the kinkiest, the tightest coiled, is most often described as the most difficult, the most hardest to manage, something that particularly needs to be fixed. And if you're in the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s, you get words like, oh, it's bouncy, it's versatile, it's defined, it's manageable. Whereas anything outside of that is you're not valued. And so these are not neutral words. It's a value judgment, and it's wrapped in this hair marketing language. And so you get these different curl charts that shows you who sits where. You get these influencers that are, hawking these products. And fast forward again today, and you got these popular charts. What's my curl type? Where do I fit? Do I have the juiciest curls? Can I, fit here? Do I get put there? Where am I? And so this is what we are stuck with, this system that categorizes us based off where you fit. And a lot of us have or did or still have internalized this to where it has become a wedge, and it's being used as a cudgel to continue to divide and tell you who is valuable and who is not. And if you already live in a world where the workplace, the schools, the media, the churches, they reward you for looking closer to white. It's way too easy for that curl chart to become a self-esteem chart. And so you start taking those quizzes like, oh God, I hope I'm not 4C. Oh, I got a little 4A over here, a little 3C right there, a little 1A back there, whatever the case may be, because you're trying not to celebrate your actual texture. And to me, that's not fun. That's a modern pencil test in your bathroom or wherever you're taking this test. And the big point that I need you to hear is that although the tools have changed from the government test, the eugenics charts, to Andre Walker's typing system, the story is still the same. The closer your hair is to whiteness, the more doors that are going to be open for you. The further you are, the further you are down this ladder, the harder it is for you to get into certain areas. And so these Eurocentric standards become the standard for beauty. And so it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. And unless we take this on and start to break at it, to beat it down, to really honor our hair textures, then it's going to continue to be that way. And so I'm black, and I'm not hiding the fact that I'm black. So this is what my hair looks like outside of braids. And whether you wear braids, weave, or anything else, that's fine. But just understand that discrimination research shows that people with tight textured afro locks, braids, whatever, you're more than likely to be seen as unprofessional, or you're punished more, or you're seen as the other. And again, laws like the Crown Act were literally created because of this. So when a quiz or a chart of what's my hair type leaves you feeling like your hair is some problem to be fixed, that's not by accident. That's the caste system whispering through your screen or through your ears to say, you're not in the in crowd. So let me say clearly, I'm not against you learning about your hair. I'm not against you learning about porosity, the density, the pattern, whatever the case may be, so that you can figure out which products works best for your hair type. What I am against is any system that makes you feel like you failed the exam because your curls don't look like somebody else's. And a curl quiz should never have the power to decide whether you feel beautiful when you walk out the door. And if a test does lead you to not love your curls, then it's not you, it's the test. And again, that's by design. So, here's your confidence hack for this episode is, if you take that quiz and you walk away feeling ashamed of your hair, close the app and don't ever go back to it. If a hair chart makes you feel like your coils are in a bad category, remind yourself, nope, we're not having that. So the main thing is to catch yourself while you're in the midst of this and figure out where your thoughts are. Is it your desire to learn what your hair is and does with certain products, or is it something that you're creating another hair border? You're perpetuating this system where your hair is a problem to be fixed. So understand that our blackness is our language, it's our history, it's our birthright. And as always, I would love to hear from you. So drop your thoughts in the comments, and then stick with me for episode 3. In episode 3, we're going to put ourselves on the witness stand, because we're going to talk about the community and who gets centered in the community, who gets pushed to the edges, and how the proximity to whiteness still buys people safety and status. All right. Until then, I'll see you in the next episode.